The Subaru Crosstrek was the #1 selling Subaru model in 2024 in North America, beating both the Subaru Outback and the Subaru Forester, which have long been the most popular Subaru SUVs. And it continues to dominate in 2025. And although sales dropped by 10% in May for Subaru, when you compare it to May of 2024, the Crosstrek dominated, seeing an increase of 14% compared to this time last year, and achieving its best May ever in terms of Crosstrek sales volume. So how did the Crosstrek get here? Why is it the #1 selling Subaru model? Well, you might be led to believe that it's because of the price point. And sure, price has a little bit to do with it, but if it were purely based on price, then the Impreza, being the lowest priced Subaru model, would be the #1 selling Subaru. But there's so much more than that, and the price is probably the least impressive part of the Crosstrek. And instead, the most impressive part about the Subaru Crosstrek are these 6 things. The first impressive thing on the Subaru Crosstrek is the ground clearance. Now, despite this being the smallest Subaru SUV, it has the same 8.7 inches of ground clearance when you compare that to the Outback, the Forester, even the largest Subaru SUV that has third row seating, the Subaru Ascent. This has the same 8.7 inches of ground clearance that you would see on those other Subaru models. And this also has the option to get the Wilderness trim, which came out in the last few years. So for those who are looking for more off-road capabilities, a more rugged look, and more ground clearance, the Crosstrek Wilderness is the perfect matchup. So despite the Crosstrek being a smaller vehicle, it still has just as many off-road capabilities as the other Subaru models. Even though the Crosstrek is the smallest SUV in the Subaru lineup, it's not lacking in space. And I've had many people tell me that they're surprised by how much interior space is actually there. Now, I'm 5'6", so I'm not that tall, but I've had people who are 6 foot or taller tell me that they have plenty of space here in not only the driving area, but also in the rear for the passengers, in the knee space and for head space. So if you haven't had an opportunity to sit in a Subaru Crosstrek, I definitely encourage you to check it out, because you have a lot more space than you might realize, and that just further plays into the value that this vehicle offers. But it doesn't stop there. The Crosstrek has a surprisingly large amount of space in the cargo area. With the seats up or with the seats folded down, you can fit quite a few things back here whenever you're traveling. Whether you're traveling with your pets, you're going golfing, maybe bike riding on the weekends with your mountain bike, or even car camping, you can fit inside of the Subaru Crosstrek. Next up, let's talk about what's under the hood. For years, the Crosstrek was dragged for its lack of power. Under the hood, it came standard only with a 2-liter boxer 4-cylinder engine, non-turbo, and a lot of people were left unsatisfied with their performance, saying that it lacked power and lacked the acceleration that they wanted out of their Subaru. So in recent years, Subaru addressed this, coming out with a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, increasing the output by 30 horsepower and giving people a little bit more of what they would like. Now, I know a lot of people would like to see a turbocharged under the hood, like we see in the WRX with that 4-cylinder turbo, and some of our other models like the Outback XT, but for the price point and where this vehicle sits, the 2.5 made the most sense. And the 2.5 is actually what comes standard in your Subaru Outback and your Subaru Forester. And many people feel like the powertrain in those models, although they weigh heavier, perform just fine. And having a 2.5 liter in my Subaru Outback personally, I can personally attest to the fact that this engine has enough power for what you need. Now, something I should note is that the 2.5 is not standard on the new Crosstrek. All but the base trim now have the 2.5 liter in them. And probably moving forward, Subaru may ultimately move that 2.5 to all of the model lineup. But for now, we get it on about 99% of the Crosstreks that we see. We get that additional power. So whether you are just daily commuting or you're going camping on the weekends and hiking through the trails, this car is gonna get you there, and it's gonna have plenty of power. The Crosstrek comes standard with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, but so do all the other Subaru models with the exception of the BRZ. So what's my point here? What makes this vehicle stand out against the pack? Well, it's long been known in general that all-wheel drive cars aren't as fuel efficient as the front-wheel drive counterparts. And that is primarily due to the fact that you have added weight with the all-wheel drive system and the increased friction from powering all four wheels instead of two. Yet the Crosstrek does not fall short when it comes to fuel efficiency. The Crosstrek gets an estimated 29 miles per gallon, which is really great for a vehicle of this size. And although the fuel rating is similar to that of the Outback and the Forester, what's amazing is that the gas tank size on the Crosstrek, which I believe is 16.6 gallons, is the exact same size as the Subaru Forester, a much larger Subaru SUV. So what's really impressive for the Crosstrek's fuel economy is the amount of range you can get on a single tank. So if you take that roughly 16-gallon tank, multiply it by the estimated 29 miles per gallon combined fuel efficiency, you can expect to see range in the upper 400s, which is quite a lot for this size vehicle. Not to mention, a lot of car companies, whenever they keep that same fuel tank or increase the size of the fuel tank, they take away from the spare tire well. And in this case, the Subaru Crosstrek still gets the temporary spare, which of course, if you plan to take this car off-road, that is a must-have. So we've talked about ground clearance, we've talked about interior space, the cargo space, power under the hood, but what about the comfort? What about the ride quality? How does it actually feel to drive the Crosstrek? Now, something that many people are not aware of is that in 2024, the Crosstrek was the first Subaru model to get these newly redesigned seats. And these seats were designed with comfort in mind. Subaru worked with the Medical Institute to create a seat that was incredibly comfortable. They retuned the headrest and the bolsters on the seat, but also how the seat is mounted to the car. You'll notice that in old generations, there's a seat rail that comes up here, and this is bolted directly to the floor. They've added insulation in the footwell and up in the roof. So not only is the car really comfortable, but it's incredibly quiet. And I encourage you, go drive it for yourself. Go drive even just a 2023 and one of the 24 or 25s with this new design, and you will be able to tell a difference not only in the seat quality, but also the road noise. Now, to be fair to the Subaru Forester, in 2025, the Forester did get this new design architecture. The Outback has yet to see it, but we expect to see that for the 26 model year coming later this year. The Crosstrek has the shortest wheelbase of the Subaru SUV lineup and really almost of all of the lineup. And now 2024 and newer has the updated power steering rack. This uses the dual pinion power steering rack that is coming from the WRX. So you can turn this thing, it's very light and direct, but you can turn it on a dime. It's very nimble, very lightweight, and can get you where you need to go. If you're in a tight parking space, this car is the one you want to have. Here's a quick glimpse of the road noise on the Subaru Crosstrek, and one example I like to show people is driving over the railroad tracks. So if you get an opportunity to drive one of these, you'll really be able to tell quickly how well the suspension just soaks up those road imperfections, railroad tracks, potholes, things like that, just to overall provide a really comfortable ride. And of course the Crosstrek and the Forester do that, but it's especially impressive to see on the Crosstrek due to the smaller size. And ride comfort is usually a sacrifice you see with smaller vehicles. Now, the video wouldn't be complete if we didn't at least touch on Subaru's safety. Specifically with the Crosstrek, what's nice is it's not lacking in safety one bit. And that's because you can get all of Subaru's safety technology on the Crosstrek. Even though this is considered like the lower trim in terms of hierarchy with Subaru's model lineup, it still has the standard eyesight system that helps avoid forward collision, as well as your adaptive cruise control for convenience when you're traveling. It has the ability to get the blind spot detection in the mirrors, and in some trim levels, you can even get reverse automatic braking. So that way, when you're backing up, you don't bump into a car behind you. Overall, the Crosstrek has a lot going for it. And as you can see, this is why it's one of the #1 selling vehicles, not only for Subaru, but for all cars in North America. I hope you've enjoyed some of the things that I've shared today in this video. As always, if you did and you find value in it, please remember to click the like button down below and let me know down below what your opinion is. Why do you think that the Crosstrek is the #1 selling vehicle? Hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, for those who are still here with me, just as a side note, if you heard the humming throughout this video, there's a slight hum in the background, and that's because we have cicadas in full force out right now. They come every few years, and here in Kentucky, they're in full force right now. You can see them flying around, and believe it or not, on a test drive the other day, I had one fly through the window while we were test driving, and luckily it didn't cause a wreck, but it scared the crap out of the customer driving, as most people probably would. There's one right there. Like, they're just flying around everywhere. This is absolutely insane.